Well, welcome in everyone. It's almost 5:30 on Sunday afternoon, almost evening, and not what I was wanting to do this afternoon, to be totally honest with you. But we have some severe weather in the area, so I wanted to get everybody up to date on what we can expect. So, obviously, everybody's a little sensitive after last Tuesday, rightfully so, and so I wanted to come on and number one, give you an idea of what to expect, and number two, nothing to not just to say nothing to panic about, but we do have some wind in this and some hail, so let's just get right to it. So this is the current radar. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Collin County. I know in the title it says northern Dallas, but that is not the case. I thought they were going to do that, and they did not. Although, they certainly could extend it, but the majority of the action will be in Collin County. And so we'll zoom this down here or shift this down. So this is the current reflectivity scan, and we'll put this in motion real quick. And you can see these storms have been out northwest of us for a while. Now we really have two distinct areas of storms. One that are over Collin County in Denton County, and of course there's a line behind it that's been misbehaving as well. Let's stop this and put this on the latest frame. There we go. So moving east about 35 miles an hour, maybe a slow drift to the southeast. So right now the majority of the weather is in Collin County, and probably the next thing I would show you is the velocity scan. And so this shows wind, and you can see where this green line just had a radar update there is moving. That's kind of where the leading edge of the winds are now. Thankfully, we haven't seen anything too terrible. That's number one. That's why you don't have a severe thunderstorm warning for Dallas County, because they don't think the winds will get down this far, but they could. So that is something to. That's probably the biggest threat we have with these storms is a wind, and as I said, this is the last thing we need right now for the winds to be misbehaving. That's for sure. The other thing we want to look out for is hail, of course. And so if we put on the hail layer, so we do see some pockets of stronger hail, mainly in the McKinney area, maybe around Fairview, north part of Allen. The hail market shows 1.25 inches. Now that's a lot. It doesn't mean that's reaching the ground, but I know we have seen some reports of several reports of inch in diameter hail, maybe just a tad larger. And then this storm back northwest of Hazlet is a little bit bigger hail core. No hail cores in in Dallas County right now, other than a little hail core in Farmers Branch. And so that's a hail. And going back to reflectivity. So there's our storms. You can count that hail core sort of shows up there in the pink. All right, let's check the comments. Hey, hello, Ashley. Yes, you're welcome. We are all a little sensitive, which is that is to be expected. Hello, Tracy. I hope you're doing well, of course. File a complaint. Why can't the rain be spread out over the summer? Yeah, boy, I tell you what, that's the thing. As I said last week, I'm sure in 3 weeks or so, we're going to be all complaining because it hasn't rained in 3 weeks. But even if that happens, which I don't think it will, but even if that happens, we got a lot of reserve. So I think we'll be fine either way. But yes, I can't even mow my yard. It's got water all in it. Anyway, so yes, I will put in a request to spread it out, Tracy. Again, glad you're doing better. Hope you're recovering well. Hey, Andrew, yeah, good thunderstorm in Hal. Hope that's all it is. It's a good old-fashioned thunderstorm. Hey, Farrah, any hail in Collin County? Yes. Depending on where you're at in Collin County, we'll put that back on. Now, the hail cores actually have come down a little bit in Collin County, so now that hail core is northeast of Mesquite. Do have another hail core in Fairview, 75, 121. That little hail core south of Farmers Branch, and then you have a bigger hail core in Hazlet, or northwest of Hazlet. So if we put this in motion, you can kind of get an idea. Again, these hail cores want to go with the core of the storm, which is east and northeast. So again, you can kind of see this hail is sporadic. It's not anything widespread, and thankfully it's not anything terribly big. All right, so you're welcome, Tracy. So, like I said, it's nothing to be terribly concerning about. Obviously, storms like this in this magnitude affect recovery efforts or cleanup efforts, I guess I should say. And so that that doesn't help anybody, obviously. And I know there's people out there that still don't have power, and that this is the last thing we want to see. But the good news is, that there's good news with this, is that it won't last that long. And we're gonna move on out, and we'll kind of expand this out a little bit. Hey Trina, got to North Texas just in time. Don't have tornado. Oh, you're in New Mexico. Okay. Just forest fire. Oh yeah, that's true. New Mexico does have forest fires. Well, there's no threat of forest fires in this neck of the woods. That is for sure, with all our rain. All right, so we'll expand this out a little bit for those of us that don't live in the metroplex. So again, you see not a whole lot going on down south, but we do have scattered storms forming down south. So be aware of that. And if you put this in motion, you can kind of get a better idea about that. So the pink is, in case you're wondering, the pink outline is a severe thunderstorm watch that has been extended to 7 o'clock. I think even 8 o'clock, I think, now that I think they extended it in time a little bit longer than it was originally issued for. But again, you can see these lines mainly moving east. A little bit a little bit south of east, and you see some development in northern Dallas County, and that's looks like those are individual cells are moving northeast. We're going to have to watch that for sure. Okay, let's check some spotter reports out. Let's see if we missed anything. So it looks like if you live in Frisco, they activated their sirens for the larger hail. So just no tornado if you live up that way. I got some reports of 45, 50 mile an hour wind gusts in Hershey-Less Bedford and east toward Richardson. That sort of makes sense based on the radar. Just checking these. Yeah, mainly inch hail reports for most the hail that we've gotten. All right, so let's stop this. Just checking your comments out and checking the other data coming in. Well, let's see if we can. There we go. All right. So let's zoom back in here a little bit. All right. So again, you kind of see this storm cluster forming on the south end of this line, which is not crazy. Okay, let's see. They just updated this. Kind of cool on this radar. They update the severe probabilities with this, and so again, 14% on the southern end, and so and ironically, they always with these probabilities, it's kind of an experimental product. They actually, most of it starts with tornado probabilities, and if you probably hard to read, but if you read that, it says the tornado probability is 14%. That's based on a computer algorithm, so I don't see any issues with that. It's just interesting to see the percentage on there, and if you, by comparison, if you come down to this storm, it's 1%. So, but just for grins, we'll check the storm relative velocity. Well, and the good news is that there's not a lot of bright colors on this layer, and so that is good. Now, the maximum on this screen is about 60 miles an hour. Now, that's probably in this area you can maybe make out just a little bit darker green, so that's probably where that is. So Flower Mound area. And now again, remember, that's a loft. That's the radar beam shooting up into the cloud, so that's not at the surface. So that doesn't always translate down to the surface. So just keep that in mind. But again, it's just something to keep in mind. So that's the velocity. We'll check the hail again. Yeah, good news is hail's behaving. No hail is good, but if it's going to hail, then these lighter blue represents a quarter inch, and a little bit darker blue is half-inch hail, which is not even classified as severe. So, but we don't want to see that anywhere. So probably the most concerning hail core right now is this one over Flower Mound Trophy Club. Looks like they're getting reports of 1.25 inch, 1 3/4, which 1 3/4 is golf ball size. So anyway, so again, they're not great, but it's not a big widespread hailstorm, so that's good. And ironically, this storm southwest of Aledo is probably the most healthy hail core. Hopefully, that will stay way away from us. All right, so let's go back to base velocity, and this is a little bit of a different scan. The one you were looking at before, the storm relative velocity, it kind of factors in the individual storms. this is the base velocity. It's kind of a general overview. And again, looking at the stats, the highest gust we see anywhere on this screen is 60 miles an hour. And again, that's measured aloft. So, and even at my house, the highest gust so far, now again, we're kind of outside the range, but it's about 20 miles an hour. So let's hope it stays that way. So let's go back to base reflectivity and make sure I haven't missed any comments. I haven't. So, again, there's a hail marker here, which would put it just northwest of the central part of Irving. So that's probably one we want to watch. At least on that scan, nothing too crazy, so that's good. So I think the other thing too is that the main threats with these storms really is very heavy rain. And hey, Willie, is it's not great, but between the rain, hail, and wind, that ironically the rain, the flooding is probably the greater threat. That's none of it's good, but between the three, I guess we'll take the flooding. I don't want any more wind. I don't want any more hail. So, but all three are threats. The tornado threat is quite low. That's the reason you see a severe thunderstorm watch as opposed to a tornado watch. And so it's so that kind of gives you an idea of the overall thinking. It's not really looking at tornadoes here, although we're not totally out of the question. And ironically, if you're joined us before, that tornado probability was 14%. Now it's 8%, so that's another good sign. And the wind is still behaving. Let's go back to velocity. Hey, Renee, put your fertilizer down. Well, that's good, but also if it rains too hard, it'll wash it all away. So, okay, I see your emoji now. Okay, well, hopefully it won't rain too hard. And man, it's way too dark for 5:30 on June the 2nd. That's for sure. All right, so now the wind's picking up for sure. Nothing crazy though. Just had a gust. Oh, just had a gust of 40. Okay, well, that's not totally surprising. All right, so let's go back here. All right, so here's reflective. We'll put this in motion again for those of y'all just joining us. And if you have a comment, put that in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer that. Again, if you're just joining us, we've had these storms that have been hanging around northwest of Dallas-Fort Worth for almost the whole afternoon, and they've finally decided to make their way east. And unfortunately, coming to visit. Right now, it's not been crazy. Let me stop this here. We do have severe thunderstorm warning for Collin and Denton counties. You see this, I'll expand this out a little bit here. And again, the main threat here is hail up to an inch, winds gusting to 60 miles an hour in spots. We haven't seen a whole lot of reports like that, thank goodness. Like I said, I think the biggest hail report I've seen is golf ball. That was in Denton. And the biggest wind gust I've seen is 61. That was at one of the airports. Not surprising. Hopefully that's going to not be the common theme. Gust to 60. I'll take gusts. I won't take any gusts, but if you got to give me something, I would. Thank you, Shelly. I appreciate you. Let's see. Yeah, I know that the MPA Jaguars, Peachtree Estates, if that's where you're from, I'm not sure what you mean by that comment, but definitely going to be in for some storms and nothing great. But so let me kind of go over this radar signature just for a second. So obviously, pretty heavy rain. The red reflects that. Even some pink, some hail. We'll go back to the hail later in just a second. But nothing crazy. Unfortunately, it doesn't. This had been our storm, and we hadn't had anything like last Tuesday. I don't think. Heck, I might not even be broadcasting. I don't know. Probably would. But so like I said, everybody's a little sensitive, which rightfully so. But again, this is nothing like Tuesday morning. It's just does have some wind to it. Like I said, I've had a gust at my house to 40 miles an hour. Now it's back down to 20. Okay. Just lost power in Peachtree Estates. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully it'll be temporary. Uh, did my power just flicker? I don't think so, Stephanie. If it did, it was micro fast. Um, Unless you're talking to somebody else. I don't know if you're talking. um, all right. So, all right, let's do a quad box, if you will. All right. So this gets a little, hopefully not too confusing, but okay, yeah, getting some power outages again. Yeah. Hopefully that's temporary. I hope that's temporary. So the top left is reflectivity. This is the storm relative velocity. Winds aren't crazy. This one down here is echo tops, which shows the height of the clouds, and these reds indicate these tops of these thunderstorms 50,000 feet. So that's why you do see some hail. And then on the bottom right, it's the hail core, hail map, and zoom in a little bit. So you have some around Lucas, west of Louisville, the hail, northwest of Irving, and so just sporadic. So that's good. Let's see. Yeah, Kelly, over this crazy severe weather, me too. Like I said in the very beginning, I was not, didn't really want to have to come on. Didn't want to have to come on to do this, but just wanted to get everybody up to date on what's going on, and to just hopefully calm some fears. I hope. I know some people have already lost power, which is unfortunate. Obviously, goes without saying, but I just hope it's temporary. We've had to have some gusty winds, nothing crazy, but unfortunately, and that's the other thing too. I think because of the storms we had last Tuesday, obviously the ground's still saturated, and the trees are somewhat weak in the sense that you may have some branches that didn't fall off that might fall off when they normally wouldn't have fallen off. Hey, Prissy went back on off in Woodbridge. Power just went off and came right back on at Woodbridge Hickory Estate. Okay, that's good. I know y'all have been without power for a long time, so that's good, Prissy. I hope it stays that way. Let's see. It is. Yeah. So it's what it is right now, and like I said, the good news is that it's not any worse than it could be. I'm very thankful for that. But it's not the greatest. Not gonna lie, but it's not the worst either. So we'll zoom out on here and put this in motion. And again, as I said in the very beginning, these are the main threats you can expect with these storms. It does have a wind component, does have a hail component, and again, I think the biggest threat between those for all this, I should say between the three, I haven't said it yet. The rain, the flooding is probably the biggest issue to deal with. And so, if you do live in a low-lying area, I wouldn't be surprised to see a flash flood warning for for Collin, Denton counties if this keeps up. But it's moved pretty quick, relatively speaking. So it's moved about 35 miles an hour. So that's good. All right. So looking at the chat, they did issue a special weather statement for Dallas and Tarrant County. Yeah, 40 mile an hour winds. Yeah, for 40 mile an hour winds. No, they didn't even issue it for hail, so that's good. And again, like I said, I had a 40 mile an hour wind gust at my house, so that's pretty much right on. Hopefully, not everybody will see that strong wind. I don't want anybody to see anything. Stop this here. Whoops. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Advance that to the. There we go. Okay, so if you just joined us, just to summarize here, severe thunderstorm warning for Denton and Collin County, and I believe that is until 6:15, and then you have the southern part of that storm in northern Dallas County, pretty much from almost I-30 uh, north in the county. Then you have this other storm that is right behind it that is going to move on through. So again, the biggest threat between all three is the rain, but we do have a hail threat. We do have a limited wind threat, I would say. So let's check the hail cores. All right. So we'll zoom in on this. All right. So this is Dallas. This is Collin, Denton, Dallas, Tarrant County for reference. And so we have, I would say, five main areas of hail. East of Lucas, in the Irving, between Irving and Farmers Branch. Down here, Aledo, they're probably going to warn for that storm in just a second. Eagle Mountain Lake, Saginaw, and Flower Mound, Louisville areas. So if we put this in motion, like I said, the hail cores are funny. They don't always move in a, you know, a straight line fashion, as you can tell. The general motion is to the east, of course, but sometimes they want to go northeast, and sometimes they'll reform to the south. And so it's just, you know, they tend to pop up and pop back down. So hopefully they'll all pop down. If we go back to the base velocity, so again, this is actually, I think I could put this in motion. This has actually come down a little bit. So you can kind of see that bulge around Denton, and then, you know, early on, that green blob, if you will, kind of moving southeast. It's kind of lost some of its punch, thank goodness. And then you see this other blob that's kind of southwest of it. You know, that's another area that we'd have to watch for wind gusts. But even that's not looking the greatest, although it's still something not to be, you know, something to pay attention to, that's for sure. Stop this. Let's see. Yeah, this scan still showing the maximum gusts of 60 miles an hour in spots, not everywhere. All right, so let's see what they're going to do here. Small hail and Flower Mound. That's good at small. All right, so let's go back to reflectivity. Yep, they're issuing that severe thunderstorm warning for Tarrant County for that hail. How big? Yeah, inch. Let's put that in motion. See what it is. Well, if there's one good thing, I would say that this rain that we're getting is, you know, at least temporarily stabilizing the atmosphere, so that definitely helps. Hopefully it'll stay that way. All right. Just looking over here. All right. Well, okay, so let's see. Hey, Ben. Yeah, right. It happens when you're making dinner. There is never a good. There's storms never hit at a good time, unfortunately. But like I said, so far they are behaving themselves. Let's stop this and give that the last frame. Let's see. All right, so let's go back to the hail core real quick. Yeah, so the nearest hail core to Saxe is this one, which is not moving in our direction, and the other decent one is, you know, at 635 and 35. Let's see how that one's evolved, to be honest. That's probably, yeah, that one wants to go southeast. Hopefully it stays that way. Another little hail core popping up, looks like around the tollway in 635. So I get the other thing too is, like, you know, we've been real concerned about the wind, and that's, and rightfully so. But you know, we could see, any of us could see some hail. Hopefully it's not anything huge, but I like I said, the biggest report I've seen is 1 3/4 inches, which is golf ball. Okay, so they're about to issue a warning for northwestern Dallas County, hail and strong winds. Okay. And they have a microburst signature. Let's see if we can find that on radar. Thanks, Ben. You too, buddy. Yeah, it's hard to show up here, but that's probably what they're concerned about from the microburst standpoint. Let's see if it shows up better. No, those are really hard to show up, and they probably have a better radar than I do, thankfully. Let's see. No. All right. Well, the good news is, at least here in northeast Dallas County, the wind's not anything crazy, so that's good. All right, so let's go back to hail signature. Yeah, I can see aloft. The pink represents 2 inch in diameter. Now it's a loft. It doesn't mean it's reaching the ground, but it definitely means that there could be some of that hail reaching the ground. That's for sure. Let's put this in motion. Yeah, like I said, hail cores don't necessarily behave like precipitation cores do. Um, so it's just something to keep in mind when you see that. Even little hail signature is not too far from us, but that doesn't mean it's even reaching the ground. All right, so let's go back to reflectivity. So definitely some, let's back out here. Definitely some heavy rain. Already gotten 1/4 inch in about 10 minutes at my house. All right, so as a matter of fact, let's see. I could do this. Yeah, there's that 40-mile-an-hour gust. And like 2.8, yeah, it's coming up fast. All right, so we'll go back to the radar. All right, so with that, let's see. Okay, so the bottom line is this: in the next 30 minutes, give or take, depending on your location, expect the following things: very heavy rain, some potential for hail, nothing terribly big, although some of it has been up to golf ball size. Hopefully that will not be the case where you are. And gusty winds. Again, the biggest or the greatest wind gust I've seen is 61 miles an hour, and that was actually a while ago. So that's what you can expect the next, it's 550. That's what you can expect the next between 6:30 and 7. Again, depending on where you're at. And lightning, of course, lightning and thunder. And with that, unless something really crazy, I am going to sign off. Hey, Patty. Company coming in at DFW, what's it like? They're landing about an hour. I seriously doubt they're landing in about an hour, unfortunately. So I'll zoom in for Patty. So the airport's right here. And depending on where they're coming from, it doesn't really matter, but not really going to land in that. And so even though they're an hour away, they're either going to be circling or they're going to be diverted. So I hate to hear that for you, Patty. Hope they get here on time. Well, they're probably not getting here on time, but hopefully they get here tonight, I should say. All right, so they just issued that severe thunderstorm warning for all of Dallas County. Looks like 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail. Again, we kind of been seeing that. The hail signature's actually gone down a little bit. So that's, again, not surprising. We'll zoom out on this a little bit. All right. So, come on, radar. Let's try this. There we go. All right, so this has turned into a complex of storms that go way up to bottom, east of bottom, really almost, all the way down into Farmersville, just west of Greenville, Lake Lavon, then kind of curves back across Richardson, Irving, just north of downtown Dallas, the DFW Airport, Colleyville, almost to downtown Fort Worth and down to Aledo. So in these scenarios, I would say that this whole complex is going to start to shift as a whole southeast, and that's going to take it out of our area. Now, these storms that tend to form on these southern ends of these lines in the military, they call them tail end Charlies, and they tend to be the roughest. So that is not anywhere near us. So I just say that to say if you know of anybody that lives in the southern part of DFW, or certainly in the county south of DFW, and you kind of see these storms starting to pop up, those may pack a little bit more punch because they're isolated. So, just keep that in mind. Oh, their first time in Dallas? Oh, boy. What an introduction they're going to get. But, yeah, hopefully they get there safe, Patty. Hopefully. Oh, gosh, Kara, I'm sorry. No power. I want to watch the Stars. Yeah. Stars got to pull it out tonight. Yeah, I hope you get it back. I really do. Like I said, it's almost 5:55 now. I'm hoping by 6:30. Most of this has moved out. I mean, not saying you couldn't get some light rain or something, but hopefully between now and then, the worst you see, anybody in particular sees, is just a lot of heavy rain and gusty winds. I hope that's all you see. Okay, I don't see anything else in the chat, so I'm going to sign off. If it gets crazy for some reason, which I hope it doesn't, but if it gets crazy for some reason, I'll hop back on. But as always, I'm watching weather, so you don't have to. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody watching. And, we do have some chances for storms next couple of days. If hopefully it won't be to this level, but if it does, I'll be right back here giving you all the latest. Thank you for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon.